Hey everyone, it's Elo. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to my kitchen. Today's video is kind of inspired by a long time ago artist who I used to watch. I still do watch her old videos, but she doesn't put out new content as far as I'm aware. Her YouTube channel used to be named something else, but now I think it's BG Kitty. I'll link my favorite of her videos in the description box for this video. Anyhow, when I had first started watching ASMR, she was one of the first artists that I found who really just made my skin electric, and I loved listening to her. So first I was only really watching her medical role plays because that's my kind of favorite thing to watch. And one day she put out, or I found, a cleaning video, and I loved it. I loved the sounds. I loved the satisfaction of seeing things getting cleaned mixed with the ASMR. And I've kind of been too nervous or hesitant to make one myself, even though I really enjoy it, enjoy watching them. So today I'm putting my fears aside and I'm going to try to make an ASMR cleaning video featuring my little kitchen here. So hopefully this will be enjoyable. I'm actually using two microphones just in case the audio is significantly better or worse on one or the other. I will likely be moving the camera or changing focus from time to time to better show what I'm doing, so that you're not just kind of watching in the distance awkwardly. And if certain parts are too loud or just unpleasant when I'm editing the video, I will likely cut them out or manipulate the sound some way to make it enjoyable. So without further ado, we'll get started. I'm actually going to start over here on the left with some dishes. These here are just some dollar store Tupperwares that I recently took out of the dishwasher. So they've been air drying a little bit, and I'm going to finish wiping them down so that I have space to lay my new dishes that I need to clean. So let's go ahead and get started. cute. I like the kind of sage colored cabinets, and I like the backsplash, which is kind of like a subway tile, but I think a little more modern. I don't know if it's because of the grout or the size of the tile. And I love having the little back window, even though this unit isn't super bright. The natural sunlight in my last apartment was much better. However, it does provide enough light to nourish my plant, which I've been nursing back to health. Her name is Quinn, and it's just nice to have that element of outdoors, indoors. That's also thankfully one of my windows in this unit that has a screen. Not all of them do, but it's nice because if I'm cooking or cleaning, having that fresh air is just very lovely. And if I happened to burn something, which is rare but does happen, I'm sure, it would be an easy way to get that smoke and smell out of the house without having to let any of the bugs in. Actually, in a second when I'm done doing this and we're starting to work on countertops and those sorts of things, I think I will open the window and just enjoy the fresh air. It's very nice out here today. There's been a cold front coming through the East Coast, and while that is translating to a surprise late snowfall for the northern part of the East Coast, here in the south, it's just, it feels like fall in the morning, and by the afternoon when the sun's out, it's just a nice crisp spring day. And we don't get a very long springtime here. We tend to have a very, very long summer that has little bits of fall and spring attached to it on either end. And then our winter is probably more like fall in the Northeast, I would say, in terms of temperatures and weather, actually. Fall in the South, to me, is like gray, chilly days that are sometimes rainy, almost always overcast, really chilly, sometimes windy, kind of like I imagine weather to be in the UK, but also we definitely had days like that in the Northeast. I can remember when I was growing up, those were days that we would be, raking leaves, or I would be going with my mom to a pumpkin patch or a flower store. Flower store? I don't even know how you call that. It's not really a greenhouse, but it's also not really a store. Also, I forgot to mention that I'm in my comfy clothes. It's very common for me to clean in sweats and to clean before I've had a shower, actually, which isn't the case today, but just because, you know, you get kind of grody doing all of this, so it kind of makes sense to wait until you're done cleaning, in my opinion, to shower and whatnot. So I'm just going to set those on the opposite counter for now. I'll put them up in a minute. I don't know if I ever finished my thought, but the bad part about this kitchen is that there's very limited counter and cabinet space. So I don't have a place for a full drying rack for dishes, and some things aren't supposed to go through the dishwasher, and I tend to comply with those suggestions because I like my things to last a long time, so I don't have to throw them away and they don't get warped. So I just use a towel. I put this down and I will set the things that I hand wash onto the towel and let them air dry, or use the secondary towel to wipe them down and get them nice and dry before I put them away. So I'm going to go ahead and do some dishes now. Okay, I have just finished putting up the Tupperware that I had recently dried, and I'm going to start working on the counters over here and the top of the stove. So I like, when I'm doing like a nice deep clean, to take everything off of the counters before I spray any cleaning solutions, just because they do permeate a lot farther than you would think, and I don't want to have all those chemicals on things that I might eat or use to prepare food. So I'm going to go ahead and throw open this window first and then start moving things. As I mentioned, I don't have a whole lot of counter space, so I'm going to probably use my step stool, this bad boy here, to set some things on top of, mainly foodstuffs, so that they're not on the floor, and other things that are in a container will probably just go on the floor because there's no other space. And then I will start with my windowsing process. It's also nice to have an open window when you're cleaning, because some of those cleaning solutions can be really strong, at least for me. And I it's nice to get some fresh air. Probably just recycle this. I was saving it. I had used this bag twice for leftover taco shells, and I was just going to keep reusing it because it seems wasteful to pull a new one every time, but I don't know. Not that I'm eating tacos like every day. So I'm going to move this stuff to the other side so that I can get this half, and then I will move everything back to get the other side, of course. This is just all my spices and seasonings, which I do kind of keep in an order based on what they are and also how often I use them. Something like coriander seed I'm not using very often, so I'll put it in the back. Whereas something like onion powder I use a lot, paprika, things like that, and I keep those towards the front. Which isn't very revolutionary by any means, but just in case anyone was wondering. This stuff probably isn't good anymore, to be honest with you, but I've kept it for so long because there's a chicken dish that I make. Yeah, this expired in 2016. Both of these actually, and I should really throw them away, but I don't know if seasoning actually goes bad or if it's just less potent or what. I mean, it still smells exactly like it usually does. But there's a chicken dish that I make that uses that seasoning, and I could only find it when I lived in Virginia. So those are from when I lived in Virginia. I stocked up. So I know this is gonna probably seem a little neurotic, and that's fine. I have a separate pair of gloves that I use for cleaning. Some people might find that very normal. Other people might find that excessive, and that's fine. But I don't like germs that much, and also my hands get very, very dry just from washing them. But also now that I use massage cream a lot, my hands aren't producing as much oil, so I don't like the sensation of something like Windex or any other cleaning product. And of course, when I'm scrubbing something like the toilet, I don't want to use my bare hands, so I use a separate pair of gloves. And just go ahead and spray pretty much all of the surfaces. If I ever have a stain that is very set, something that's hard to get off of the counter, I'll definitely let the Windex sit for a little while, because that really helps. makes it very easy. Might also seem a little weird to be wiping the wall, but if you cook much at all, you know that there's a lot of grease and other things that will spray and kind of get all over, which I think is the purpose of backsplash in the first place. I think that people started putting tile around their cooktop because the grease would damage the wall. Which I do believe that they now also make paint that can withstand that sort of thing. The tile also just looks nice. I think it's a very complete look, in my opinion. The microwave is always one thing that I'm so happy to clean. Same with the refrigerator handles, because I'm a bit of a messy cook. I don't really care about the mess I make because I know that I'll clean it up later. And it's also distracting to be trying to keep everything perfect while I'm cooking. I like listening to music and dancing and actually cooking, and just kind of enjoying the process of it. So things can get a little messy, and I sometimes have dirty fingers covered in flour or grease or, I don't know, condiments, and I'll grab things, touch things, and you kind of just forget about it because it dries and it's not a problem. But it's there. So knowing that about myself, I try to wipe down the handles in my kitchen pretty often. Okay, so let's put all of this back here. Put this one behind that one, and let's see. That's not what I was looking for. I think these might have been kind of messed up back here. Cloves, which I don't use very often at all. Curry powder, paprika, which I use a lot. There's coriander seeds, cinnamon and sugar, onion powder, cumin seed, ginger and cayenne, then we got cinnamon, smoked paprika, chili powder. And this one back here I didn't talk about, but it's a sweet Hungarian style paprika. Allegedly my mother's side of the family is actually from Hungary, the Austro-Hungary area initially. Someplace up in the mountains over there. That's kind of irrelevant. Found a recipe a while back that used the sweet paprika, and I had never even heard of it before, and it's actually really good. So it's a very specific flavor though. Not something that I would put on a dish haphazardly, but definitely worth having for certain dishes. This is my salt and pepper, fresh garlic cloves. I use grapeseed oil to cook because I used to be an olive oil junkie, and it turns out that olive oil is actually not good for human beings once it's heated to a certain point, which we regularly reach in cooking. So, you know, everything's bad for us eventually, I guess. But the grapeseed oil, it doesn't have that problem. It heats very nicely. It's great for frying things. It's also perfectly adequate for sauteing things. And I've used it in place of olive oil in every recipe that I've made for the last 4 to 5 years, and it's never been a problem. Okay, so we will go ahead and do the other side now. Also a little trick, I guess, if you're not aware. Gotta be careful around that electrical outlet. Cleaning your microwave on the inside, if you just take a microwave safe bowl and put water in it, preferably not too shallow of a bowl, or not too little water, I guess I should say. You can even use a glass. I've done it that way before, but just enough that it's not going to evaporate. And you turn on the microwave for like 5 to 10 minutes straight with the cup of water in there, and it steams everything, and then it's very easy to just wipe down, and all of the dirt and grime comes out so easy. You just definitely have to be careful not to burn yourself. Split switch plates is another big one that people don't think about, but I guarantee if you go look around at your light switches in your household, they're probably pretty grimy, unless that's something that you do clean often. can be very satisfying to go around and clean those. Although again, you do have to be careful because it's electrical. So typically I'll spray the Windex straight onto the paper towel or whatever cleaning solution you use, and then wipe with that. You could also probably just use hot water, although I don't know how sanitary or how well that does. In terms of sanitizing, I know it would remove the dirt, but I don't know about the germs. You'd have to have pretty hot water, I think. As I'm replacing this, I'm going to grab the knives that belong to this knife set and dry them and put them away. It's important when you have a nice set of knives to dry them off as quickly as you can, pretty much, to keep them in good condition and not having any water spots. I thought it might be a nice time to show you my little window over here. My plant, as you can see, has suffered some. She had an infection, and I've been treating her as best that I can very extensively, and she's had new growth, so I'm hoping that she's going to bounce back fine. I have my cookbooks, and in the corner here I have a stand so that it can hold the cookbook open as well as keep it upright. Mortar and pestle, little bird, and I have some glassware. It looks really pretty when the light comes through. I have a little pencil cup holder, some utility things in it. I have this little planter here that someone gave me that I'm going to put a succulent in, and that should be really cute. It's going to grow like hair. And I have a couple old signs here. I got these from a thrift store in Virginia, and I just don't know what to do with them yet. They don't quite fit the feel of my kitchen, but I do love them, so I'm definitely keeping them. I don't know if they were, I think they were hand painted, honestly. Okay. nice little lilac fragranced candle there going. And from here, all I would do is put away the things that have dried. They're just not dry yet, and wipe the other side as well. And I'm gonna set my oven to self-clean, and the last thing would be to vacuum the floors. Sometimes when you're wiping the counter, crumbs and things fall off, so I vacuum last, and that is the gist of me cleaning the kitchen. I hope that it was relaxing, enjoyable, and I hope you feel inspired to do some of your own cleaning. I think living in a clean environment does a lot of good for your mental health. So yeah, if the weather permits, throw open a window, put on some of your favorite music or ASMR and some headphones, and make your space nice and cozy and tidy. I'll see you in my next